Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the KPR Mills Q2 FY22 post-results conference call hosted by Batlivala and Karani Securities India Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal the operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Prerna Jhunjhunwala from Batlivala and Karani Securities India Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lizanne. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of B&K Securities, I would like to welcome you all for 2Q FY22 results conference call of KPR Mill Limited. From the company, we have with us the senior management including Mr. P. Nataraj, Managing Director of the company, Mr. Murugappan, the Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Kandaswamy, who is the Company Secretary of the company. I would now like to hand over the call to the management for initial remarks, and then we can take the conference for a Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Prerna, and very good evening to one and all. I am Nataraj, Managing Director, KPR Mill Limited. I welcome you all for the KPR Mill second quarter earnings call of financial year 2022. We are happy to report that KPR recorded the higher turnover and PAT for the quarter ended 30 September 2021. The textile business as a whole continued to be good. The yarn segment performed well due to strong domestic demand. Our focus on value-added products and cost optimization secured better realizations. Given the sharp recovery in the US and the European markets, wherever government major exports, government orders remained healthy. The wind power generation during the quarter was also good. The favorable ease of doing business environment, supportive government policies, competitive labor costs have strengthened Indian textile industry as an alternative sourcing destination for the leading international textile players. Regarding the cotton, both domestic and international prices are ruling at very high. Irrespective of the record high price of cotton, the demand for cotton products are also going up. The expansion projects initiated in the garment and sugar segment are nearing completion. We are positive on the textile industry market due to a rise in demand and support from the government through innovative schemes such as mega textile parks and the creation of a world-class infrastructure, which are expected to provide the necessary push to this sector and attract large investments. With this opening remarks, the floor is now open for questions and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is on the line of Tanvi Bhandari from Hem Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on the numbers. I have two questions. One is, can you just update on your existing capex plans for the garment manufacturing as well as the other for sugar? And also, what would be your EBITDA guidance for future, as you earlier mentioned that you were able to maintain an EBITDA of more than, say, 20%. So what's the guidance for the full year and the CapEx plan status?
Madam, I could not, your line is not very clear.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, tell me, madam.
Hello. Yeah. Can you just tell me the status of your CapEx plans for the new garment facility and the expansion of sugar and ethanol production? So what is the status? When can we expect it to be fully commissioned? And also, what would be your EBITDA guidance for the full year?
Both the projects on completion stage. We expect that the project will be completed during this quarter. We will commence the production. The exact date of commissioning will be announced. And regarding the EBITDA, since we are increasing the value additions and the product mix, we hope that the margins will improve from the earlier stage of 20% to say 22-23% kind of level. We are this quarter and the last quarter, EBITDA margin is very high because of the very good market, and we hope that the things will improve from the existing levels.
So you expect the EBITDA margin going forward 22-23%?
It's expected to be around this level, but these two quarters are very good.
Okay. And just one more thing. So you had earlier mentioned that once these two expansion completes, we can have an additional revenue of 500 crores from the sugar production and from the new garment facility of approximately 600 CR. So when can we see that rolling in our books if this is expected to commission this quarter?
Yeah, actually expected to commission, garment facility expected to commission this quarter. It will take about 9 months to 12 months for ramping up. Sugar business, once we start, it will start functioning at full capacity within a month's time. So we can see a full production of sugar in the coming year, 2022-23. And the garment full production, about 50% of the production will come in 22-23, and the full production will come in the year 23-24.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question. We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Bharat Choda from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. I had a question on this ROCTL accrual. Like, we had not accrued it earlier in the Q4 and Q1. So have we accrued that, taken in the accounts in this quarter?
Yeah, sir, we have taken this in this quarter.
Yeah, what would be the quantum of that, sir?
It's somewhere around 37 crores, sir.
How much?
37 crore rupees accrued during this quarter.
Okay. And sir, I also wanted this sales volumes for Q2 for yarn, fabric, and garments.
Volume you want? Okay. Yarn sales 18,500 tons.
Okay.
Fabric 3,000 tons.
Okay.
Garments 27 million.
37 million. These are sales numbers, right?
Yeah, volume, sir.
Yeah, sales volume. Yeah, sir, one more thing, like on the cotton, last time when we had spoken, so we had a stock of cotton at a price of around 49,000 per candy. But now the prices have gone up significantly. So do we see the yarn spread shrinking from that level, or we'll be able to maintain the yarn spreads?
Cotton, whatever we had is almost consumed. Now we are in the new season. The cotton prices are higher now. The yarn prices are also moving up in line with the cotton prices. We hope that the margins will be maintained, but we are not at this level. It will be maintained the normal levels of about 20% plus kind of levels.
Okay. And sir, how is the garment profitability like? Because there are a lot of challenges in like logistic and input costs. So is the garment profitability also likely to be maintained, or there could be some lower profitability in your garmenting as well?
Garment profitability is expected to be maintained.
Maintained. Okay, sir. Thanks a lot for answering the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Biplab Debbarma from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have two questions. First, regarding the strong EBITDA margin. Sir, which segment has led to this heightened EBITDA margin? Which segment's contribution? Is it yarn segment's contribution or overall? I just wanted to understand why the EBITDA margin has gone up this quarter.
Actually, the yarn business did really well during this quarter because usually it is about 20 plus kind of EBITDA margin. Now this quarter is about 30%. And the garment margin also very good during this quarter. It's about 30%. Overall margin also 30% plus kind.
Okay, so both yarn and garment this quarter margin is heightened 30%, right?
Yeah.
And just follow up to this, do you see this margin in both garment and yarn segment to continue in near future?
Sir, cotton being agricultural commodity, it is seasonal. Depending on since the last 3 quarters is off-season period, margins were maintained. Since it's a new season, we have to wait and see. We hope that the things will be good, but we are not expecting the same kind of 30% margin. Usual margin will be there. At least it will be little more also.
Okay. And the second question is on your sugar and ethanol. You have given us a guidance, that is fine. But just wanting to understand. So you said by FY 22-23 it would be operating at full capacity. So sir, if I assume that demand is there, everything is there, and you operate in full capacity, what is the volume of sugar you can produce from your mill and volume of ethanol that you can produce from your mill once it is fully operational at peak capacity? From your
peak capacity, we can crush 10 lakh tons of sugar cane. We can produce about 90,000 tons of sugar and close to about 4 crore liters of ethanol.
Yearly. If each year you can have 90,000 tons of sugar and how much liter of ethanol, sir?
It's close to 4 crore liters of ethanol.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Naushad from Systematix. Please go ahead.
Hi, a couple of clarifications, sir. Firstly, on the margin side, you mentioned the number. Can you re-clarify it? The ROSCTL which you shared is 37% or 31? Sorry, 37 crore or 31 crore rupees?
37 crores, sir.
And that is the arrear, not of this quarter or combine of last 3 quarters.
Yeah, correct, sir.
Is it combined of this quarter and last previous 2 quarters, or is it just of the is it the arrear amount of 37 crore?
So 37 crores for January to September, sir.
Can equally divided in all 3 quarters?
Equally divided.
Okay, and apart from this, what all other factors has helped us in terms of this margin?
Since we had a cotton, yarn prices went up sharply, so margin has increased. And in the same way, garment demand also increased substantially. So garment margins also good. And during this year, we have run the ethanol plant in the operation also. So ethanol, sugar and ethanol margins also good during this quarter.
Understood. Secondly, can you share the value breakup also of the yarn, fabric and garment?
Yeah. Yarn value 500 crores. Fabric 86 crores. Garment 455 crores.
And what is the current order book we are sitting at for yarn?
It's about 750 crores.
750.
It's about 750 crores, sir.
Okay. So this includes the commitment of our upcoming expansion as well, the 750 crore, or this is for only the existing capacity? Yeah.
It's only for the existing capacity. Generally, we accept orders on commissioning of the plant. Slowly we accept orders. Because the government need a ramping up, no? It's a labor-intensive business. We train the labor in batches. Based on the labor strength, we will accept the order.
Perfect. Lastly, on the commissioning of 40 million pieces of capacity, have we got the
time, sir, we will commission it.
In terms of labor requirement, are we fully filled with the kind of labor requirement we are expecting for that?
We are in the process of recruiting that. We will recruit the required labor.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I'll come back in queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Ahmed from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Opportunity, sir. Can you please give the revenue breakup for sugar and ethanol for the current quarter?
Sir, what do you want?
A revenue breakup for sugar and ethanol.
Sir, sugar revenue 115 crores.
Okay.
Sorry. Sugar revenue 50 crores, ethanol revenue 52 crores.
Okay, sir, fine. And sir, the new sugar and ethanol facility, when it will be commercialized?
During this quarter it will be commissioned, sir.
So this sugar season, how much you will able to, how many days you able to operate this sugar season?
We are planning to operate at a maximum days. We hope that we will commission it early to utilize the season.
Okay, fine. And what is the sugar inventory currently?
It's about 10,000 tons.
Okay, fine. And sir, regarding the spinning spreads, for the last few quarters we have enjoyed, and the industry has also enjoyed the spinning spreads, and currently the domestic as well as global cotton prices are coming up. So what kind of margin taper off we can expect from the current levels in the yarn segment?
Presently it's roaming around 20 to 23% kind of a margin in the yarn segment. The current cotton prices and yarn prices.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Akshay Chheda from Canara Robeco. Please go ahead.
So first question would be on this Ethiopia side, like any progress on the Ethiopia side. And secondly, just I wanted the margin. So yarn margin was 30% and apparel was 30%. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. You are right.
Okay. And sir, sugar, what was the volume that we sold?
It's 15,000 tons of sugar sold.
And ethanol?
Ethanol is about 1 crore liters.
412?
1 crore liter.
1 crore. Okay. And sir, just on this Ethiopia side, sir, any update there?
Sir, still the unrest is going on in Ethiopia, and we are in discussion with the investment commission in Ethiopia. Our people are also in touch with them. We are waiting for their response. And we will take a suitable action at an appropriate time.
Okay. And sir, the margins, if you can just repeat for yarn, fabric, sugar.
Yarn margin is 30%. Garment margin is 30%. Yarn and fabric, sir. And garment margin is 30%. Sugar and ethanol is about 20%.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Ashutosh Garud from Ocean Dial AMC. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi. Congratulations on a great set of numbers, sir. So, just wanted to understand from a broader perspective. I mean, I remember we earlier the management discussed how this new capacity of garments will scale up around 18 months, and now you can see the bullishness is scaling up at expected to scale up in a year or so. So, do you have any plans of further capex from a garmenting side, which may come up in the next year or so? Because as we grow on this particular on volumes from a garmenting side from next quarter onwards, do you have any plans from a growth angle for next 3 to 5 years?
Sir, our focus is to value additions. So here in the textiles, the final product is a garment which gives the maximum value addition. So that's why if you see the last 5 years, we moved, shifted from investing capex from spinning to garment, and our focus is mainly on the garments. And the new facility maybe comes in by this quarter. Then once the ramping up is over, so then we have a plan to expand further. So when in fact the government has also announced various other schemes like textile mega park with a lot of infrastructure facilities. So like plug and play model. So already it is government has announced. So we are also waiting for that, and the location and what kind of facilities they are creating, so that it's more quicker. So we can, once the facility is created, just we can install the machines and we can start the production. So like that. So like other countries where we went to Ethiopia, where they given us a plug and play method, the same system brings into India. So it will be more for encouragement for the textile industry here. So we are looking for that, and in addition to that, there is additional facility what we are saying. Otherwise, we are also having a plan of going for further expansion in the garments once the ramping up is over. So this is the plan.
Great. So just to clarify, so the new capacity for garments, the realization per piece would be higher than what we are doing right now. Would that be a fair assumption?
No, this will be at the same level because we are making the same product. So the expansion also in the same line. So the realization will be at the same level because we are producing the same kind of garment.
Fair enough. And so lastly, if you can give us a color on how things are moving from a supply chain perspective for, India emerging as a strong alternative from a lot of supply chain moving out of China because of the cotton issues. So if you can give us some color on how are your talks with the customers going on? Is there any incremental interest from them? And how do you see this panning out over the next 3 years?
Sir, definitely we are very positive, and the scenario looks very encouraging, particularly on garment side. And it is too early to predict. So this much is a percentage has come already, or immediately, like we cannot say that 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, how much. This much percentage will come like that. But actually, it is in the minds of all the customers that they also want to source some other through some other alternate. So they are seriously looking for that, and we are also able to feel because order booking also increasing in India, and definitely we are confident that something will happen. But it's too early to predict the quantum or the percentage to say. But definitely we expect there's a bright future for the government.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, and all the best for you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pratik Kothari from Unique PMS. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity, sir. So just one question on our retail venture, the brand that we have launched, Faso. So any plans to maybe aggressively scale it up? How has our experience been? It's been over a year, maybe two now. Given the huge cash that we generate, any plans on that and anything on the aggressive side?
Sir, presently, if you look at on the last 1.5 years, we could not be able to push the brand because of this pandemic. So from this say July onwards, things are improving. Now we are pushing the brand across southern India. We are going for a large advertisement campaign and all. The turnover has increased substantially in last 2-3 months. Now we are reaching about 1.5 to 2 crores per month. We hope that from here on we can push the brand to next level. We have appointed a few consultants for this purpose, and the advertisement campaign also going on. Since it's festival time, the things are all picking up very nicely. We hope that we will reach our goals, even though it is delayed a little bit because of this pandemic. We will reach our goals in time.
So this appointment of consultant or advertising, would it involve some higher expenses, or we maintain our earlier stance that we grow it slowly and not spend too much money there?
Not spending too much money there, but required advertisement and other things will be done. No, that we will be doing it.
Okay. And just to clarify, you said we are currently doing 1.5 to 2 crores a month.
Yeah, turnover is about 1.5 to 2 crores a month, and we are going for a little aggressive advertising during this period. Since it's the festival season, we want to push it further.
Fair enough. Sure. Thank you and all the best.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinod Malviya from Union Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question, and congratulations for a good set of numbers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. So first is on your, the margin side. I know, in this particular quarter there were like multiple things. One is definitely the earlier incentives has been recorded in this quarter, and also you were sitting on some cotton inventory, which also helped you to report such a strong margin. Now, based on the current cotton prices and the current cotton yarn prices, what kind of a margin should one expect based on the current market price? Hello?
Sir, it is very too early to predict the margins for the current quarter because it's cotton being an agricultural commodity. We have to wait for some time. We hope that it will be good because both cotton prices and the yarn prices going in line. So we hope the margins will be good only. We have to wait for some time.
Okay. And like how much compression in the spread has happened, like because of this cotton prices going up sharply? Can you actually provide that data, like on a sequential basis? Let's say it was X, now it has become 0.8 of X, or some any guidance on that front would be helpful.
Current margins are very good because usually yarn margins used to be about 18 to 20% range. Now it is more than 20%. The margin is very good now, and we hope that it will be maintained.
Okay, they are still above 20%. That is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But they have come down from 30% definitely.
Yeah, 30% because we had some inventory that also resulted in a gain.
Okay. The second basically was on your capex side. So I know that Indian government is incentivizing to set up a lot of facilities in India. But just wanted to understand your thought process on setting up a facility, let's say in Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh has a lot of favorable duties when it comes to certain European region. So if you just can explain your thought process, that why would you be reluctant to set up a facility in Bangladesh?
No, in fact, we visited Bangladesh also, and we have seen the facilities and the labor, all these the systems and all these things well before, even like 3-4 before going to actually Ethiopia. And we have seen, all these studies, that feasibility, everything. Then, this Ethiopia was the better option, so that is the reason we went to Ethiopia. And unfortunately, there were some issues there. And finally, we see that here, mainly in India, the issue is the labor front, and we are able to manage the labor, the migrant labor well. So then I think India is the best destination for the future. So that's why we have decided now to expand in India only. Even well before 2 years before also we thought of if everything goes well, we can expand further in Ethiopia. But unfortunately, some problem has happened there. So that we decided to go in India itself.
Okay. So if I only just summarize what you have said is basically there is a geographical risk which is there in the Ethiopia, and that could also probably be there in Bangladesh also. And as far as India is concerned, there is abundant availability of labor, and also the raw material is available locally. So that is the major advantage, which is in
Bangladesh, mostly raw material, particularly yarn and cotton, actually exported from India only. And these are all like short term, okay. Long term, we don't know. Even something happens, so then suppose any restriction or something, or export ban or anything, some one policy make a total difference. So Bangladesh is totally dependent on other countries, particularly India, for raw materials.
And just last, just wanted to reconfirm the numbers which you said to some earlier participant. This is basically on the peak sugar generation and ethanol. So you said 90,000 ton is the peak sugar generation which you can do from this capacity, and around 4 crore liters. This is for the new facility, right?
No, it is the existing factory, sir.
And this is for the existing
factory. We can produce somewhere around 6 crore liters of ethanol and about 75,000 tons of sugar.
But you are also expanding the sugar capacity and ethanol. So from this new facility, how much incremental peak sugar and ethanol you can generate?
The new facility, we can produce 75,000 tons of sugar and 6 crore liters of ethanol.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Bhattacharya from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir, and congrats for the great set of numbers again. So my question is with regard to textile chemicals availability. Like few weeks ago, there is a talk that there is a disruption and supply curbs on couple of the chemicals supplied to other part of the world, and that's why Indian textile companies are also facing issues of textile chemicals availability. So what is the situation now, and are we also facing such kind of the difficulty in the coming period?
Sir, see, actually, if you see in the last 6 months, the cost of all the raw material prices are have gone up, including even if you say that construction area, steel, almost steel prices has become doubled. So similarly, like a cotton price also it is a double from 40,000 to 65,000. So ultimately the finished product price also has gone up. So here also the same situation for chemical, also the price has gone up very steeply. But still it is, once the price is going up means the demand is building up. So there is a huge demand, but the product is available at higher cost. So the product is still as on today, there is no chemical we can say that not available for using in the process. So chemical are available, but at a higher cost. So we don't feel that there is any shortage or non-availability of chemicals. Only the thing is the price is high.
Okay.
And maybe due to one of the reason also like transportation, we all know well the container availability is not there, delayed all these things, so like this. So because of the price also has skewed up. So otherwise the chemical is available.
Okay, helpful, sir. Secondly, on the freight side only, I want to understand for the future contracts when you sit with the buyer and negotiations happening. So, is there any separate component of the freight is also now discussed and will be a part of your contract agreement that if there will be a rise in the container cost or if in the container cost, then the price will be accordingly adjusted or how the thing is that?
No, what we have booked order, mostly all are on FOB basis only. So the freight charges is borne by as per the contract. It is not for our cost. Our supply is on FOB basis only.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. And secondly, lastly, sir, on the fashion side, are you seeing any change in the trend post-COVID? That demand is a bit different, and that's why we are seeing more component of fashion articles in our supplies with our buyer compared to the basic articles. So the mix will be changed more towards the fashion, and that's how the realization can be further improved from here. Is there any trend?
No, we hope so, but because after the COVID, now the situation is improving. So and the cost of the product also is from raw material to finished product, everything is going up. So this we have to wait and see, sir, because how the the customers, the consumers trend is changing. So that we have to wait and see. But now that everybody even you see that various places lockdown and all these things now only opened, even other like entertainment facilities and all these things. The people are rushing whatever is the stores or like entertainment like cinema halls and all these things. And what I feel personally, it has to be settled down for some time. So then even you see that the airlines is not fully opened and but that everywhere heavy rush. You can't book the ticket on the same day. So like that, it's a heavy rush is there. So what we hope that the things has to be settled down. So then only we have to we will know what is the right direction. So we have to wait and see for some more days.
Okay. And so lastly, on the cost optimization side, just wanted to understand in all our operations, be it in the sugar, textiles, or garmenting side, is there any more opportunity for automation to be increased, and that's how we can reduce the cost and reduce the dependence on the labor? Is there any further scope, or how is the situation?
Sir, spinning side there is a scope for if we go for more automation, we can reduce the labor further. But for the new capacity only we can go for existing capacity. When we go for automation, it will be more expensive than the labor cost. So we have to see calculate via media which is the best option. So like that. So but wherever the machinery manufacturers every year on year they are also updating their technology, and whatever is possible we are introducing in the existing facility. By example, in a spinning there are 6-7 departments are there. For example, winding department where where we are going for, even now we are going for little automation where suppose when there are 100 people are working, it will be reduced to 75. So that kind of the automation part by part it is happening. It is like a day-to-day life. What we are doing is go on every year. So we are investing a small amount and removing reducing the certain percentage, even say like 5% or 20% of the people in the particular area. So this kind of things are going on. But if you take garment is the most automation what we have now. Even what we are now the new factory. When you see that whatever the technology machinery available in the world, so the best technology we are importing and we are doing that. But its operation is manual. So for that more laborers has to be employed. So this is the kind of thing. And sugar, if you say that sugar is most automation actually. So there in sugar industry the labor is very less, and what we are now going also the most modern technology only. So there the employment is very less compared to the textile. In textile particularly, garment employs more people than spinning or knitting like that.
helpful, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Mulesh Savla from Shah and Savla LLP. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. RTS, congratulations, sir, for excellent set of numbers. My questions are answered, but just a follow-up question on that retail venture. Sir, when are we planning to go pan-India so far as our retail venture is concerned?
Sir, actually, we have planned within 2 years to go pan-India, but, because of, as I already just explained, because of the last 2 years, almost 1.5 years has gone because of pandemic, and most heat industries also retail, where, the footsteps are very, very less, even, like when we take in this region also in the many parts of the country, everything is open, even except like cinema halls or, the malls, and even the retail shops are not opened. Only recently this also opened in this region also. And because of that, almost 1.5 years has gone. And that's why, without, moving, filling up the stores in certain area, instead when we go for, say, 100 stores, without filling 100, if we go all of a sudden to 1,000 stores, so then, this, running expense will be very high. Unnecessarily, without revenue, the spending will be more. So we are calculating, proportionately. So like that, we are moving. So that's why, 1 year before itself, we launched the entire south. That's the 5 states. So then, at the time of planning to launch to North India, other parts of the country. So suddenly pandemic has happened. So now the things are getting into normal. So now we are planning. So we are slowly now moving into other parts of the country, and hopefully, the things will happen in a couple of years. We are pushing very fast, as just now explained. After the pandemic, we are very aggressively pushing. We lost the 1.5 years time. So that should be covered in the next 1 year. So that is our focus. So we are fully on the job, and everyone is fully giving attention to speed up. To we are. So suppose we are traveled in 100 kilometers, we want to push it on 200 kilometers. So like that, that's the way we are pushing for the brand, for the retail. And we hope that we will achieve that.
Great. I'm sure manufacturing facility should not be a constraint to us. It is only the marketing strategy that may be problematic.
Exactly, sir. Because even some people told that the manufacturing is the most difficult area in retail, but we are absolutely having very strong hold, and everything is in-house. Like from the yarn, as in the last call, maybe like 2-3 quarters before, I told that everything is the best quality, like super fine yarn we are using for our the FASO products, and the processing also we are doing a special process to get the luster of the fabric, and the knitting also, making the fabric also we are using special machines, like the most modern, like Mayer&C machine, which is the best machine in the world. So like that, everything is we are making in-house, and the manufacturing point of view, absolutely we are very comfortable and making the best quality, and it is also like a organic product. So the product-wise, we are able to make the best on manufacturing point of view. Only this, as you said, the marketing, we have to push it, so we are giving full attention on that.
We are confident, sir, because we have seen and used your product, and the product is excellent. And I am sure that once we go pan-India, we can even definitely give tough challenge to Jockey also. So that's all from my side, and all the very best, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Your words are really great encouragement for us. Actually, this actually makes us to go still more aggressively. Thank you, sir.
Correct. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Ashutosh Garud from Ocean Dial EMC. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for giving me the opportunity for follow-up. Just wanted a clarification. You mentioned, I just wanted to clarify on ethanol and sugar. what would be our total production for ethanol once the new facility, let's say in FY24, if we are operating at full capacity, what would be the total production for
You're
ethanol?
asking about the combined production of ethanol and sugar?
Yes.
Ethanol and sugar, we are estimating somewhere around, sugar is somewhere around 1,65,000 tons.
1,65,000. Okay.
Ethanol is about 10 crore liters.
10 crores. Okay. Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And all the best. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Biplab Debabrahma from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, 2-3 things. The first is on your guidance, looking at your turnover and optimistic outlook. Sir, do you FY23 guidance 4,000? You still stick on 4,000, or you would be more optimistic that we may surpass this guidance of 4,000 in FY23?
You are asking about the turnover, sir?
Yes, from the textile.
From textile, sir, consolidated textile turnover, we cannot tell you the futuristic number. We hope that we will grow by 15% here on.
Okay, that's fair enough. And second thing, sir, I was just wondering, we know cotton yarn spread may have led to the heightened EBITDA margin of the yarn and fabric segment. But in the garment segment, since we have the order book, we have everything priced, predetermined price, and at the same time, the raw material costs are almost fixed since we buy cotton in advance. Sir, what led to this 30% EBITDA margin in the garment segment? I mean, because everything, seems to be, the margin would have been steady, but I'm positively surprised with the heightened margin in increase in garment. It is not as volatile as yarn.
This quarter 30% margin because of the ROACT we have accrued during this quarter for 9 months. Because of that, the margins are very high in the garment.
Okay, otherwise we would expect around 24-25%.
kind. That will be maintained. This is 30% because of 6 months export incentives were accrued during this quarter.
Okay. So if you remove this, then it will be something around 24-25%, right, sir?
Yeah, it will be totally.
Okay, sir. And one final question is on our capacity built up. So, sir, this is a hypothetical question. Sir, let's assume that China plus one or whatever domestic demand, FTA, whatever may be the case, the demand has increased. And so something, sir, we received some demand, say, 200-300 million pieces of garments for KPR. Sir, how easy or difficult? What would be the time frame for us to ramp up significantly? Is it possible? I mean, obviously it is possible, but what would be how easy, difficult? Can you just give us some insight so that on the ramping up of our garment facilities, if we have the demand, say 200 million, 300 million pieces of garment demand, additional?
Sir, this is what we just told that, we have to, ramping up in the sense, we have to recruit and train the workers, and we have to meet the government orders also. Like, when training more people and no order also difficult, and when we get more order and training the people, it's not matching, it's difficult. But as you said, when more orders we get, the one side problem is solved. So then, we have to focus on getting the people, more people, recruit more people and train them, so that we can do full attention on that. We can push them push the recruitment team very aggressively, so that instead of, that's why we said 9 to 12 months, so like that. When order booking comes heavily, like as you said, 200 million, 300 million, like that, so we can ramp up in 6 months' time.
Okay. This is all. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Naushad Chaudhary from Systematix. Please go ahead.
Hi, a couple of clarifications, sir. Firstly, on the garment 40 million capacity, which is under process and expected to come in this quarter. Of the total requirement, expected requirement of 5,000 employees, how much of them we have recruited as of now?
Sir, we have recruited somewhere around 1,000 people. The training is going on, and once the 1,000 people coming into line, we will start training the next batch. That's how we do.
Okay. Typically, how much time it takes from recruitment to training to?
So it will take about 45 days.
45 days. Okay.
Each batch maybe somewhere around 500 to 750 people will train. That will take about 45 days for them to train and put them into the regular line.
Okay. And 35 days would be for finding them. So total of 2 months, 2.5 months of.
Recruiting them may not be a problem. Whenever we require people, the people will come. So we will plan accordingly. We will not wait for 30 days for people to come. We will process simultaneously.
Perfect. Secondly, if I heard it correctly, we have mentioned that we may think of, or we are thinking of having another garment expansion. If I heard it correctly, so would it be greenfield or brownfield, and would it be a similar size of what we are working on currently, or would it be a smaller size of expansion if we do it in future?
No, we can plan for the same size, sir. What we are doing already, maybe plus or minus. And previously, what we made 36 million. Now this is 42 million. So like that, somewhere around 40 million. So this size will be, comfortable. So managing everything. So.
Okay. Is it something at very advanced stage of discussion, or we have just thought about it and not discussing it on a regular basis?
No. Actually, here our focus is on the existing, because this project is now ongoing project. Once the project completed and at least 50% of the ramping up is over, then we will think of that.
Okay. And lastly, on the industry side, sir, is there any view you would like to share in terms of the India's FTA talks with US and Europe in terms of how Bangladesh, Vietnam and other countries are getting access to those markets versus we have disadvantage? So is there any development or anything you are hearing?
Yeah.
Sorry, could not understand your question, sir. Please, can you
are you asking free trade policy?
Agreement. Yeah.
Sir, this is an ongoing project, and government is discussing with these countries, but not yet finalized. We are also following, but we cannot do anything. Government has to take the call. We hope that something will happen in the coming future.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sameer Dosani from Carnelian Capital. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, so I just wanted to understand what is there a structural impact due to this Xinjiang shutdown, that sanction that has been passed? That is one thing. And second,
sir, there's a lot of background disturbance from your line. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Much better, thank you.
So what is the kind of impact that we are seeing in our business, and is this a structural change on account of Xinjiang, shutdown or sanction that has happened in very recently?
Sir, still not clear.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Sir, we could not be able to hear you properly.
So I was just asking whether there is a structural impact on textile industry, and whether we are benefiting from the sanctions that have been passed on Xinjiang region of China.
Sir, this is what is the talk going on in the market, but we are not seeing any definite changes in the market, but we hope that it will happen in the future. Not because it's a very large industry, we cannot get the feel of it immediately. It will take some time.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanvi Bhandari from Hem Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sir, I just wanted clarity that the PLI scheme that was recently announced by the government and also the increase in the export incentive from 2,000 crores to 10,000 crores. So how likely is we are to get benefit from the same?
The PLI scheme, we are studying, and most of the scheme is designed for the purpose of man-made fiber and man-made fiber-based garments and all. We are also manufacturing. We are studying what are all the benefits available there and how we can utilize it and all. Maybe we may be taking the call during this year.
So could you repeat the last line? It is basically for the man-made fibers. So how are we like to get benefit from the same?
Yeah. We are also manufacturing. We are just studying how we can get benefit out of it, because it's going to be most of the benefits given to the greenfield project. We are studying the scheme and whether it is how beneficial to and all is on in the steady stage.
Okay. So just one more question. Earlier you had mentioned that you had cotton inventory till October 21, and the average cost that of the inventory was approximately 49,000 per candy as compared to 56,000 per candy that was prevailing around the previous quarter. So what are the cotton prices currently, and as your inventory is almost finished, so at what price can we look at the inventory now?
See, the cotton price presently is around ruling around 65,000 per candy, and we have inventory for a month. So this is the end of the season, and normally we keep stock for 4 to 6 months. So we buy cotton during the season where the quality will be better, and so that we are able to give consistent quality. But during the off season, at the beginning of the season, like we had to start procuring the cotton, so it will be the end of the season. The inventory will be at the lowest level. So normally we keep around 30 days. So this is the position. And new cotton today, the price almost, if you see the last 1 week, almost every day the price is going up. So today it is 65,000 rupees. So it's a big difference of comparatively, like I think around 10 to 15,000 higher level. And this also we can say that capital market, how is moving upwards continuously, and it is also unprecedented. We never in the history of cotton industry never touched this price. So that's why the industry also having a thought of that, once we start falling down, we don't know where it will go down. So there is also. So that's why we are very cautious in buying the cotton at present.
Okay. So are you able to pass on this price rise in cotton?
Yeah. Once cotton price is going up, equally yarn price also moving up. There is a time gap will be there, like 2 weeks time or so, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Rajiv Venkatesh, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Venkatesh. We are not able to hear you. Hello, Mr. Venkatesh.
Hello. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. I have 2 questions on the margins front. Since our margins are more on the garment exporting and clients are more concentrated in North America and Europe, I have a question on this. How are the freight charges affecting this? Due to freight charges rise, are we seeing any new countries taking up India share like Jordan especially? Because I read somewhere that Jordan is taking major of the garment share. So what are your views on this, sir?
Sir, I already explained in the earlier call, we generally accept the orders on FOB basis. It will not have an impact on our business. And also some medias are saying like because of the freight cost, some orders are getting diverted and all, but we are not seeing actually. The things are okay only. Some small orders may go from here and there and all, but the overall garment business in India is doing well during this period.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your answers.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Tanush Mehta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
So congratulations on a great set of numbers. I had two questions. So the first one is regarding...
sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mehta. We are not able to hear you clearly.
Yeah, is this better?
Much better. Thank you.
Yeah, I had two questions. The first one pertains to, sir, our vision or our growth plan in our export business. How do we plan to scale it up, and where do you aspire to go in the next 3 to 4 years? And the second question is with respect to like for rise in cotton prices. I wanted to understand how are our spreads affected with rise in cotton prices on a normal real time basis, or let's say on a quarter to quarter basis.
Sir, this is see our core business is textile. In textiles particularly, we are focusing. If you see, KPR is focusing in the last 5 years into the value addition product. There is a garment, and the garment is made for export. So it is as being a manufacturing. If you see that every 2 years or like that, we are expanding our capacity, either greenfield or brownfield. So that's already explained. So once this project is completed, so then we will think of the next project. So this is a focus on our main focus is on expanding the garment. So this is what we continue to do for next 2-3 years. So there is a plan for the export market. And regarding cotton, see the cotton price as steeply as going up, and equally yarn price also moving up. So the spread is maintaining the same level, but there will be, that's why the time gap is there. Exactly we can't, like if it moves in the certain percentage, the same percentage yarn price also moves. So that there will be some plus minus some few percentage, not big difference, and there will be some percentage movement will be there. But it's the time gap is there. For example, today cotton price increases, yarn price may go up after 1 week or like that. So similarly, it is happening. But always it is the history also shows wherever the cotton price goes up, yarn price also moves up. When it comes down, yarn price also comes down. Almost the margin maintained almost at the same level. What is called some 18-20%, so like that. And the last couple of the like months or season, as we had the inventory at low cost, and because of that, we are able to make higher margin. So this is only the difference. Otherwise, both cotton and yarn moves in the same direction, proportionately.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And good luck for the coming quarter, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kapil Bangura, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Kapil, your line is in the talk mode. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I would, if you could just, I missed the response on the profitability margin. If you could again just give some color around what could the profitability margin could be relative to what it was in current quarter, last reported quarter.
Sir, the current quarter profitability is overall about 30%. Generally, the profitability in textile business will be somewhere around 22-23% kind. Especially yarn, if you look at it, somewhere around 20%. Garment used to be somewhere around 23-25% kind of a return. And we hope that this kind of a percentage can be maintained. The present margins are little higher than the normal margin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Bharat Choda from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up opportunity. Sir, I had this query about our captive consumption. So our yarn captive consumption is around 30%. So how much it will move to with the new garment capacity becoming operational?
It's expected to be somewhere around 40%.
Sir, I couldn't get it. How much?
Somewhere around 40%.
Okay, 40%. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Tanvi Bhandari from Hem Securities. Please go ahead.
So just few questions. One, you earlier said that your export share in US is pretty less, which is approximately 22%. So is the share increased post-COVID, or are we still on 22%? And are we taking any steps to increase our share in the US market?
Yeah, yes. See, once previously we were fully giving attention on the European market, and slowly as the capacity increases, we are looking for other markets also to spread the marketing areas. So we are now doing with few customers in the US and Australia, New Zealand, so like these countries, and proportionally we are increasing in other market also, so that in the new capacity comes, we are looking for some few. Already we are discussing with some large customers in US. So definitely our size will increase after the new capacity to US.
Sir, earlier you had mentioned that you had a share of 22% in US. So is that still intact, or has reduced, or how do we see it?
Sorry, what is it? Can you repeat?
So earlier con call, you had said that Europe being the key market, you had a export share of approximately 54% to Europe and US to 22%.
Right.
So are these numbers still intact, or is there a change in your key markets?
No, ma'am, there is no change. Moreover, the US actually is going up because the volume is increasing. Increasing the volumes is going to US.
Okay. Sir, also you have set up a company in Singapore for the same. So is there any fruit that has been yielded for the company that has been set up in Singapore?
Madam, your voice is not very clear.
Earlier you had said that a company has been established in Singapore.
Yeah, we already established a company in Singapore.
So are there any fruits that have been yielded from the same, or?
In what you are asking?
From the company that has been set up in Singapore. Have we started some export activity there, some new market we're exploring in Singapore, or?
Yeah, madam, the Singapore company is mainly set up for the purpose of Ethiopia business. Since Ethiopia business is having some issues, Singapore company is also not in operation now. We are finding some other opportunities there.
Could you please repeat? You were not very clear.
Yeah, basically, madam, this Ethiopia, the Singapore company formed for the purpose of Ethiopian business. Since Ethiopia is facing some problems, Singapore, there is no operations now. We are finding some more opportunities from Singapore company, and still not yet done. We are just finding some more opportunities there.
Okay. So just one last question. So in one of the reports, the Chrysalis was said that China was one of the major imports of yarns from India. So now, as there are problems in China, and then again due to lockdown in the textile hub of China, so how do we see the yarn prices going up? Are the yarn exports still affected because China was a major market, followed by Bangladesh?
No, still the export to China is continuing. There is no fall in the export to China, but the Bangladesh, presently we see that this season that export to Bangladesh has gone up, and India is having the largest market in the world, having more than 25% of yarn export, and it is spread across so many countries, and so far still today is China is the largest importer from India. So this is continuing, irrespective of the transport or container issues.
Okay. So just one follow-up. So do we have any dependence in China in terms of our supply chain or in terms of our final sale, apart from the exports that we're doing to China? So any further lockdown would affect our numbers or something?
No, we don't have any direct business contact with China.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Shivan MS from JHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Apologies if this question has been taken previously, but just wanted to know of the new garment facility that we are adding and the recruitment that we are doing of labor. Are you facing any difficulty in getting labor?
See, it is within the state, almost the labor availability has come down a little bit, and so we are recruiting from other states like northern states and Orissa, Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, so like even Assam, so various other states. So availability of the labor is plenty. Only the thing during the pandemic, a little bit transport not available. Now everything is east out, and now there is no issue at all. So in fact we are quite comfortable, and even for the language purpose we have engaged the HR people also from the same states where they're having speaking the same language. So absolutely no issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Senthil Kumar, an investor. Please go ahead.
So good evening, sir. I am calling from Chennai. Regarding the Faso brand, the reach is very minimal even in superstores or something like that. Last year I was able to identify the products in many places, but this season when I go to purchase, your brand presence is somewhat minimal, even in prominent marketplaces as well. May I know what is the reason? Is it because of this COVID situation or something, some other external reasons?
No, maybe because of the COVID situation, sir. Because yes, we are the new entrant. We have pushed in the market, but unfortunately the COVID has they started 1.5 years before. So after that, we are also could not our team people as we are the freshers in the market, not able to reach properly to the stores or the dealers or distributors. So like that, there was a little. We found little tough times. So maybe because of that, the availability is maybe find it less. But actually, we are now in the last 2-3 months we are working on that. So that's why as just previously told, we have the capacity, we have excellent product, the manufacturing setup, we have stocks with us. So now we are pushing it to almost all the stores. So I think since we also experienced what you said is true, and we also felt that already we received communication from the people even a couple of months before itself. So we are pushing it very fast, sir. I think in the near future all these things will be sorted out. And one good thing actually in the market, what we had a feedback is that everybody talked very good about the quality, And only the thing, availability.
Product-wise, the quality is very super, sir. But only thing is availability and the size.
Yes, sir. Actually, this is also, in fact, another very, very encouraging thing. But though it is availability one point of it, that we also realized that. And this is actually because of the unavoidable situation of the COVID. We also
this festival season, you also started to putting up ads in TV promos and all those I can see actually. Is there any plan to open any exclusive outlets in any prominent locations?
Yeah, that is also on the card, sir. We are discussing all these things. So that's why we are aggressively planning. Actually, what we the last 1.5 years we lost it. And that's why we are now thinking 1 year ahead of what to do like that. So what we planned 1 year after what to do, that itself we are thinking now. So I think a very, very short and quickest time we will push everything, sir. And definitely we are confident that we will come out very strongly, sir, in this front.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Your product is really nice, but the thing is you have to put more pressure on the availability and reach. All the best, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for the closing comments.
Thank you very much. The company has observed sustained growth in last 2 quarters, bouncing back from the lockdown impact. The product mix of high margin, ability to withstand any eventualities, strategic expansion plans, comfortable cash flow, and above all, the continued support from all the stakeholders who sustained and improve the growth prospects of KPR. So I thank you all once again, and our hearty wishes for a safe and happy Diwali. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Batlivala and Karani Securities, that concludes this conference call. We thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.